Welcome to this week's segment of Dr. Klein's Info Series. This is Dr. Elie Klein with Nanto Nutraceuticals. And this week, I want to talk about the effect of the stress hormones, mitochondrial energy production, and how it can cause mood and cognitive disorders. So this segment is a follow-up to last week's segment on serotonin being a downer, not an upper. And it is meant to answer a number of questions that I received over the course of last week. And so what does stress and the stress hormones have to do with mood, and why high levels decrease mood and interfere with healthy cognitive function? I'm going to answer this question, and I'm also going to answer what does all of that have to do with mitochondrial energy production. Well, first of all, let's establish what mitochondria is and how is energy produced. The mitochondria is the energy factory, or plural mitochondria, are the energy factories of the cells. That's where the energy production process occurs. And so this diagram represents, in a nutshell, what happens within the cells and within the mitochondria. Now, on the top left corner, what you've got there is the hormone, thyroid hormone, T3. And it's T3 that initiates the energy production process. It stimulates the cells. It tells the cells start breaking down food to produce energy, glucose or fat. And so the energy production process with glucose starts outside of the mitochondria, within the cell, but outside the mitochondria with glycolysis. Glucose is broken down to produce pyruvate and produces 2 ATP molecules. Now, ATP is the energy reservoir, is a molecule that constitutes the energy reservoir of the cell. It's that P, the phosphate bond of adenosine triphosphate that contains all that high energy that enables the cells to perform its various functions. And so this first process happens outside of the cell. Now, pyruvate, through a series of steps, is converted to acetyl-CoA. Acetyl-CoA can also come from fat. And so the next steps occur within the mitochondria, and it's called the Krebs cycle, or the citric acid cycle, and it also produces some ATP, 2 ATPs. And then the most important, most energy abundant step occurs at the electron transport chain, at the membrane of the mitochondria, and this produces 34 ATPs. So this is how energy, in a nutshell, is produced within the cells, energy that is used to help us with our cells with various functions. So what does energy production have to do with mood and cognitive issues? Well, here's a really interesting tidbit. The brain accounts only for 2% of human weight, but consumes 20% of the body's energy. It requires so much energy to function relative to its weight. It requires about 120 grams of glucose, which is equivalent to 480 calories. That's how much energy it needs throughout the day. And so without that energy, it is not able to function properly. And of course, the brain is the center of our thoughts, and our thoughts lead to our emotions. And so inability to optimally produce energy results in a variety of mental and cognitive disorders, including depression, bipolar disorder, schizophrenia, and Alzheimer's disease. And all of this has been well documented in a number of different studies, and I presenting one of these studies here that you can refer to if you'd like. So this is the relationship between energy production, requirements for energy, particularly by the brain, and the way it governs mood and cognitive function. Now, what do the stress hormones have to do with this? Well, first and foremost, elevated cortisol suppresses the conversion of T4 to T3, and it's T3 that initiates the energy production process in the cells. Beyond T3, the stress hormones at the exhaustion stage of the stress response decrease the production of energy by suppressing mitochondrial activity. There are 3 stages to the stress response. There's the alarm stage, the fight or flight stage, and the stress hormones, particularly adrenaline, actually increases the availability of energy to deal with the stressor. And then you get into the adaptation stress. The body uses its resources to deal with the stress, but when these resources are exhausted, you get into the exhaustion stage. And it's in the exhaustion state with elevated chronic continuous stress that the stress hormones suppress mitochondrial activity and energy production. So I cited a number of different studies that prove that support that, and teach us about that. And I highlighted one of them specifically as it relates to serotonin, the influence of serotonin, oxidative metabolism of brain mitochondria. And in that study, basically, they showed that serotonin suppresses mitochondrial energy production. And that's uh, just a reminder of last week's topic. So what can be done to address mood issues on the basis of the relationship with stress? This is a slide I took from last week's presentation. So the basics, and I want to point out again that life happens and life will affect our mood and the way we see the world and so on. But it's in the energy depleted state that mere sadness or occasional worry can turn into deep-seated depression and anxiety. And so, healthy diet and lifestyle can help decrease cortisol and improve depression and anxiety through physical activity, for example, through dietary measures. In my mind, the most important one is limiting polyunsaturated fatty acids. Someone asked me what does PUFA stand for, and that's what it stands for. Polyunsaturated fatty acids, mostly from vegetable oil, soy, corn, or canola oil, are some of the most common sources. Vitamin C and magnesium and B vitamins, other vitamins play a role in regulating cortisol and can decrease cortisol as well. And of course, the adaptogens. Rhodiola is one example. A plant that survives the stressful winters of the subarctic has shown in studies to decrease elevated cortisol. So more on rhodiola. So again, as far as its decrease in cortisol, provided a study. In this particular study, rhodiola was compared to Schisandra and to Eleuthero, Siberian ginseng, and produced greater reduction in cortisol and alleviation of stress compared to these two botanicals, who have a variety of a variety of different properties and benefits over on top beyond stress reduction. It has also been shown to alleviate depression and anxieties, and I've cited some studies here. These are clinical trials where rhodiola rosea was employed to show a reduction, produce a reduction in depression, anxiety. And other studies have also shown improvement in mental fatigue, memory, cognitive function, and learning. And so because stress is the basis of suppression of various functions, our Canadian rhodiola is the basis for the different Rosiva line products. You've got Rosiva for mental, cognitive well-being, depression, anxiety, low mood. And then you have Rosiva Edge, which is for physical well-being, endurance, libido, and so on. And then our two new products, Rosiva Digest, where it addresses the premise that stress suppresses digestive functions, can cause acid reflux and indigestion, and so on. And so in addition to the digestive herbs, there's a presence of rhodiola here, and digestive enzymes, some vitamins and minerals, and Rosiva Teens. We've added Bacopa to rhodiola with a number of vitamins and minerals to help mood and cognitive issues and help students, teenagers between the ages 14 to 18 to feel better emotionally and mentally as well. So thank you very much for watching. I would like also to invite you to connect with us on Instagram at instagram.com/Rosiva Stress, and on Facebook at facebook.com/Rosiva Stress. And if you want to receive a video notification and watch these types of videos on your own as they come out, just click on the subscribe button. Thank you very, very much for watching, and have a great week.